what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
This is a previously recorded episode of Making Living Better on WHKY, Catawba County, North Carolina's radio source for first-person storytelling.
WHKY several months ago worked in cooperation with our friends at Catawba County on our Making Living Better series. We welcome guests from Catawba County. Catawba County takes a look at some of the folks, Catawbans in our area, invites them to the studio. We get a chance to meet them and talk with them. This morning I'll be talking with Patrick Brose. He is with the Catawba Valley Medical Center, works in their supply chain, director of supply chain, is that right?
That is correct, yes.
And joins us this morning in the studio. Thanks so much for joining us. Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you for having me, and nice to meet you, too.
First of all, I always like to get to know people a little bit, and one of the easiest questions, people usually know this one. I know. Where are you from? Where were you born and raised?
Born in El Paso, Texas, raised in Utah.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
And from the information I got, I believe that are your parents still in Utah?
That is correct, yes.
And from what I read, Utah's got 4 seasons, but they're all kind of extreme, right?
They are extreme, yes.
So the winters are real cold?
Winters are real cold, lots of snow. Summers are real hot and dry.
Yep.
So it's like a convection oven.
Oh, really?
In the summertime, absolutely.
Never been to Utah, but I understand it's beautiful. Some great places out there.
Very beautiful.
But you love one of the things that you like about our area is that you do have 4 seasons, but not quite as extreme.
Well, it's 50 degrees? What did you just say our temperature was?
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful weather. So that's one of the great things about living
by tomorrow,
here.
It's going to be in the 70s. So you can't beat that.
Can't beat it.
No.
Now, you've lived some different places, though. You've moved around a little bit. Tell us about when you left Utah. Tell me a little bit about you and moving where you grew up and then moving on from there.
Yeah, so we went from Utah to Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
With the family, and that was back in 2012, and that was the first time that we had ever ventured outside of Utah with the family, going to Tampa.
Now, that's your wife and two sons, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So tell me about Tampa. Did you like that area?
Love Tampa. We frequented the beach just about every weekend.
Yeah.
We were hitting Clearwater, Indian Rocks, places like that.
Very
all the
nice.
time, yes.
Now, of course, there in Tampa, you were working with who, sir?
Shriners Hospital's international headquarters. Right.
Yes. So their international headquarters is there.
It's right there, yes.
There were some changes that happened with the organization.
Yes.
And then, of course, you started to take a look at maybe some other career opportunities. Is that right?
That is right, yes. So I was in my master's program while I was down there, and as I was finishing up my master's there, I was looking at expanding my profession into a larger role,
right.
And that's what brought us up to Roanoke, Virginia.
Right. Roanoke, Virginia. We talked a little bit about that before we went on the air. That's where I was born and raised.
We did, so that brought us up to Roanoke, and I worked for Carilion Clinic there.
Okay.
And they've got a large distribution center that they distribute their medical supplies out to their hospitals and their facilities.
So this has been a wonderful opportunity for you to advance your career and to get into an area that you really like. Before we move on, I do want to mention one thing because you really have worked hard. You have done a lot of great things in your life because as I look through your history here, you were at one point doing aircraft maintenance.
Yes.
You were hitting maybe on a different career track. There were some things that happened in your life that changed that.
Yes.
But at one point, you were, and just to let folks know, you have really done well because you worked hard. You at one point were riding how many miles a day on a scooter while your wife had the car for the kids? I think that I saw that and I was like, this is great. This is a good guy because he's willing to do what it takes. Tell me about that part of your life.
Yeah, so just like every other family, young family, we were going through financial struggles and we had to give up some things. One of those things was a second vehicle, and so we gave that up. I did have a scooter. And I was riding about 106 miles a day with a Craftsman toolbox bungee strapped to the back
right.
to the various campuses throughout Salt Lake.
And I think that's just great that you were doing that. You were working hard. You were making it happen, and you were on a scooter and you were riding, but you did what it took. So your wife could have the car.
Absolutely.
So the kids would have a place to ride.
Absolutely.
Safely.
And that was even in the wintertime, too. So I had layers and layers. I had a big helmet with ski goggles on, gloves, you name it. It was an adventure, to say the least.
But now, of course, you're doing well. You've and the youngsters have grown up a little bit, and like you said, all young couples maybe go through some tough times, but you've really achieved quite a bit. And
we have.
It's got to feel good. And you've made the decision out of all the different places that you could have lived in the country and out of all the places that you have lived, you've decided to settle right here in Catawba County. I'd like to talk about some of the things that went into that decision. I'm sure the job availability had something to do with it.
Had a lot to do with it. Also, when we did live up in Roanoke, my wife, I have to put a plug out there for my wife. She's a big Costco fan.
Okay.
And so from Roanoke down to Winston-Salem, Greensboro, we knew the area pretty well because we frequented Costco.
Okay, so you drive from Roanoke to Costco in Winston?
Yes.
Okay.
And so we knew the area
right.
pretty well from that aspect. And so when we were looking at leaving Texas, we knew we wanted to come back east. We knew we loved this region. And when we found Catawba, that was our main focus and main goal.
I found it very interesting that when you came into take a look at the area and did the job interview, you didn't just interview with your prospective employer. You kind of interviewed us.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Precisely. So I went around to various stores, even went into some elementary and middle schools, some businesses, and just asked them what they liked about the community, what were some things that they didn't like about the community, and that's how we got a real good perspective on why we thought we would like Catawba as much as we do.
Were people rather forthcoming? And because sometimes we're rather, an incestuous community. We're kind of like keeping it. Who is this guy asking about us? I guess you told him, I'm considering moving here. Tell me about the area.
Yes. Very forthcoming. Very honest about it. I talked to a couple that weren't very happy about that bond for the river walk.
Right.
I talked to many that were really appreciative of it, and they thought it would be a good thing. Some of the businesses, they talked about the manufacturing and the textile going down, and that the county and the community is doing things to bring it back up. So I got a really good perspective on both ends of it.
Right.
But there was more positive out of it than any negative.
But I think it's interesting because sometimes if we're changing jobs, we'll go in, we'll interview, we'll hear what they have to say. Sometimes people won't take that time to investigate the community. You did that, and you found out that this is a good place. Something else I thought was interesting is you're a dog family. You like dogs?
Yes.
How many do you have now?
3.
3 dogs now?
Yes.
Good man. Good. And just real quick, what kind of dogs you got? Are they mutts, rescues, purebreds, what?
They're rescue mutts.
Rescue mutts?
Yes.
The best kind. The best kind.
Yeah.
But one of the things, I thought this was interesting because I picked up on it, that you were in downtown and saw that it was a dog-friendly community. People had dog bowls out with water.
That is correct. We love taking our dogs where we can.
Right.
They are very much part of our family, as with anybody else that has pets.
Yep.
And that was very important to us. And I actually noticed that when I come down for the interview, and that was something I relayed back to my wife. But after moving here, we saw how people love their dogs.
Right. Pet friendly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pet friendly.
On the most part, we're pretty pet friendly, but people do here, they love their dogs. But because I see that too. I see downtown businesses, and I say, wow, they got a dog bowl out there. Okay, I like that. I like the fact that they're taking care of the dogs, and that's just another way to curb appeal. It's just something that you can put out there and have folks, when their dogs are down there, get them a little sip of something.
Well, we just had a coworker of mine in my department. Her friend just opened up the Wren the Den or
Wren's Den, right?
Wren's Den,
right? Yeah, where you take your dog bar. Yeah,
I mean, there you go. That just speaks of Catawba being supportive of not just people, but the extended part of their families, and that includes their pets.
Oh, it absolutely does, yeah. And you're right. I mean, you're a dog person because you're talking about extended part of the family. So now your wife was unable to join us this morning because she's working.
Correct.
But we can go meet her this morning if we're looking for a cup of coffee, right?
Absolutely.
And where would that take place, sir?
That would take place at Lenore Ryan and Bear's Lair.
Okay.
At their coffee shop.
And just ask for?
Aimee.
Let's ask for Aimee. Quite the barista, from what I understand.
The best in town.
The best. Yes. Right. In case she's listening, you got to say that, right? But it's absolutely true. So she's a part. And one of the reasons, from what I understand, that she's doing this is she likes the feel of the coffee shop and likes talking with the young people on campus.
She loves the interaction.
Yeah.
She's made for that type of environment. She loves the interaction, the fast pace, the just the interactions with the students, the faculty, all of it.
Right.
Just loves it.
I think that's wonderful that she's able to do that and able to come in and plug in. I mean, talk about a place being able to plug in. Coffee shop.
Right
being
away.
on campus right away. I tell you what, we're going to have to take a break here in just a minute, but when we come back, I want to talk about another, and maybe I should have put Cameron and Jackson before I talked about the dogs. But
That's all right.
You got a couple kids as well, two nice sons of Cameron and Jackson. I want to talk some of the other things in the deciding factor of moving to Catawba County
Yes.
and to the area, and part of that was the schools.
Yes.
You mentioned that earlier, and some of the things that they have available to do for them.
Yes.
Here in the area. We'll talk more with Patrick Bruce this morning. He is part of the Making Living Better program with Catawba County.
Catawba County has great people who do nice things for each other. Catawba County also has amazing schools with teachers who make learning fun. We also have lakes, which makes fishing, boating, and family time a breeze. If you want a beautiful place to live with amazing opportunities, then come over to Catawba County. Catawba County, making living better.
Learn more at makinglivingbetter.com.
Good morning. Welcome back to First Talk with Hal Row on WHKY Talk Radio for the Greater Hickory Metro. Patrick Bruce joins us this morning. He is would be 2 years in May.
Correct.
Plugging into the area. Of course, works with a CVMC, and you were telling me you're head of their supply chain that you've been in this industry for a long time, and
Yes.
you just love the corporate structure, the way that things are done there. You're really liking your job.
Yeah, they've got a real focus on patient care and patient excellence, not just for the patient, but the family members and the people that it impacts. Realizing that healthcare doesn't just impact the person that's in the hospital or being treated; it impacts the extended family as well. So, love the focus there, and it's more than anywhere we've ever experienced. Not just working, but going to facilities for various reasons, and so really appreciate that. And that's what I enjoy coming to work every day for.
Well, if you enjoy coming to work every day, that's just huge. So I'm glad that you're liking your job. I'm glad that you're liking that. And, of course, liking being here. You've got two sons, Cameron and Jackson.
Yes.
And is it Cameron? Is it Jackson who's going to be having a birthday here in about 10 days, you were telling me?
Cameron will be 14 coming up.
14. Was that tough moving from Lufkin, Texas, at that age, where he maybe was establishing some relationships and knowing some folks? Was that a tough age? Was that a tough move for him?
It was initially, but as soon as the summer started, we jumped right into the YMCA swim team.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You plugged right in.
Absolutely. It was within just a couple of months that they started establishing relationships and friendships, and forgot all about Lufkin and put that behind them and moved on.
And plugged in.
Yes.
That's great. So they're swimming at the Y, right?
They are.
So have you met Mr. Dant, Ross Dant, the swimmer, and Mr. Robert Dant, his dad?
Absolutely.
So you're getting plugged in with those families.
Yes.
Very good. And also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've heard, you're trying to get plugged into just as many things that are out there, things that you like to do. Mountain biking, that's one of the things that you're doing that we have to offer in the area. That I think maybe a lot of people who live right here maybe have never been to one of the trails or don't know where the mountain biking may be in our area. But that's something that you and one of your sons have plugged into, and one of the things that y'all do quite often together.
Yeah, and we're waiting for the weather to be more stable and consistent.
Right.
And as soon as that happens, we're going to be hitting the trails. There's a lot of trails just here in town that you can just throw your bike in the back of the car and go for a quick ride.
And you're there.
And we're there, yeah.
Tell me about the schools and one of the decisions, because very important to moms and dads. You actually talked to the schools. You found out about K64 before you moved to the area. This was a big part of moving to the area. It's more than just dog bowl sitting out and being dog friendly.
Right.
It's more because you got a lot of, and you were telling me that what you were able to find and what you were able to discern initially, great school system, the kind of place you wanted your sons to be.
Yeah, so it's funny because as we were going through the recruitment process, my wife was researching the area, and she was writing me a list on a binder of places to visit, and there were a lot of schools on there because we knew schools was going to be a large decision factor.
Right.
And I had probably seven elementary schools, a couple of middle schools, and that was on my list. So going back to what we were talking about earlier of interviewing,
right,
I actually just dropped into the schools and said, hey, we're moving here, not really realizing we're going to move here,
right,
but saying, hey, we're moving here. Can you tell me about what's going on? And it was interesting to see the different responses we got in terms of just a person walking into the school
right.
and trying to get information. We got two completely different. We got some responses where they said, you can't come in without an appointment.
Right.
And some schools said, sure, let's take a tour. I'll tell you what's going on.
Right.
And so that really helped drive where we wanted to be in terms of the school systems with their openness, if you will.
Right.
And taking into account that, safety is a major factor.
Sure, you got to take that into account as well, right?
So, but
interesting.
Yeah. So we did as much homework as we could before coming out here, and that's how we landed with the school systems. We're at and the boys.
You were a Joe Gibbs fan. You like Joe Gibbs racing?
Yes.
You like NASCAR?
Love NASCAR.
Have you seen a race yet?
Not here in Charlotte.
Okay.
Not here in Charlotte.
Right.
My wife surprised me back in 2017 or 2016 before we moved out here to a Texas Motor Speedway.
Oh, yeah. That's big.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to head out to the Hickory Motor Speedway when they get racing out there, the birthplace of the NASCAR stars. You'll see some late model sportsmen running out there. So that'll be fun for you.
Can't wait.
And then you'll have Charlotte. Of course, you were talking a little bit about Daytona. So that's something that plugged into the area. It sounds like you had a lot of different factors and a lot of different things that came together for you, but you just mentioned Charlotte.
Yeah. I
guess that's one of the big things is because you've lived near Houston.
Yeah.
Lufkin's right outside of Houston, right?
Correct.
You've lived near some major metro areas.
Yes.
So you've been able to, when you're here, you've got the accessibility for the schools, the dog-friendly atmosphere, great job, but you're also I think you mentioned this location. You're just down the road from Charlotte, so you've got the restaurants and all that as well.
It's so easy. It's so accessible. There's really, within an hour drives, you can be anywhere you want to be in terms of things that you want to do.
Right.
So Charlotte, if you want to see an NFL game or a basketball game, you can do that. If you want to hike and bike and ski, you can head up north towards Boone Blowing Rock. You want the arts. Heck, even here we've got arts,
right,
and all that. So the accessibility to the things that are around us is tremendous, and part of the draw factor of what makes it.
Have you talked to friends and said, look, this is the promised land. You need to get here. You need to get here as quick as you can, and invited them to say, look, we got a lot of great things going on in Catawba County and throughout this area.
Oh, very much so. I'm actively recruiting, trying to get people out here.
Good.
Absolutely.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, from the information I got, you're even trying to recruit the parents. Is that right?
That is correct. I think we've put that on the back burner, though.
Oh, really?
My father-in-law had a break in his leg before Christmas.
Oh, my goodness. So it'll be a while.
It'll be a while.
But that's one of the things that you'd like to see.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
So you'd like to have the whole family come down to this area instead of the extreme hot, the cold, the convection oven, and the freezer out in Utah to this area.
Nice.
And, of course, now do you still have relatives internationally? You were telling me that you had some family earlier in Holland, right?
Yes. So on my mom's side, her siblings still all live out there, so my cousins on that side of the family still live out there.
So invite them on. We'd love to have them.
Trying to.
There you go. Get them all right here. I want to tell you how nice it was meeting you. I want to thank you very much this morning. And I will see you again soon.
Yes, thank you.
You're more than welcome. We've been talking this morning with Patrick Bruce. He has moved here from with his family, his wife, Aimee. Go see her at the Bear's Lair at the coffee shop this morning. Ask for Aimee. Get a nice complicated coffee.
Yes.
Don't get an easy one. She loves doing those complicated coffees. He is Director of Supply Chain, Catawba Valley Health System. Also, two sons, Cameron and Jackson. Happy birthday soon, Cameron.
Yes.
And we hope you have a good one. We want to thank you again for your time. Nice meeting you this morning. And thank you for being part of this program. And thank you for deciding, out of all the places that you could be, to move here to Catawba County. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening. To find more first-person stories from Catawba County, visit makinglivingbetter.com or tune in to themesh.tv each month for a new podcast.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.